Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
I loved it. It was incredible.
Me too.
Yeah.
John would have made this.
We'll talk about it in a second, but there was one image which I felt was almost like a John Pountney photograph.
Yeah.
Oh,
me
God.
too. I said the same thing.
Right. And
it wasn't the naked young man with flames coming out of his penis.
No, it was not. It was not that. I've already put my score in. I've already scored it up.
Oh yeah, I already have as well.
Yeah. I think this is so.
Okay, let's do it then. Do you want to start?
Right. Do you want to talk about, at the top end of the podcast here, do you want to talk to our listener about the potential for them to come and see us in October again?
Oh, yeah. Well done.
Rather than putting it at the end.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, so just want to let you all know that because the thing we did in Dorchester on a Tuesday night sold out weirdly, and we thought it looks like there is a bit of appetite for people to want to see us do the podcast live. So we are now going to be coming to West London, Acton. We're going to be at a cinema called Act One on the 30th of October, so Halloween Eve, and we're actually going to be watching a proper Hammer movie. We're going to be watching Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
I don't know why you called it proper.
Well, it's an actual film, because the last one we didn't show a film. I just showed clips, didn't we?
We just talked about life.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, very good point.
Yes, and then we're going to be talking about the film afterwards. So
it's going to be
talking about Ralph Bates, I would say.
It's going to be a live. It's your chance to come and take part in a live action Witchfinders, as it were.
And for just £50, you can have a photo taken with me.
How much? 50?
£50.
Okay.
Yeah, 50.
Yeah, for £100, you don't have to have your picture taken with John. And yes, ticket. We've nearly sold half the tickets now. So, and we are several months away. So if you want to come and see us on the 30th of October in Acton, go to the link on our website and or just go and do a search for Act One Cinema, and then when you're on there, look for Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, and come and see us.
Absolutely, please do. We'd love to see you.
Yes.
We are also running a prize giveaway. Hammer have been very kind and given us some Blu-rays for their new Hammer Presents collection of films.
Amazing.
So we're giving away 4 Blu-rays.
I'm keeping mine.
Well, no, not those ones. These are something different, John.
Oh, right. Yeah. No one's having my ones. Fucking hell.
So we are giving away The Snake Woman, Dr. Blood's Coffin, The Cry of the Banshee, and Crucible of Horror. These are all region-free Blu-rays.
Lovely.
So anyone from anywhere can get these. So it doesn't matter if you're the UK or anywhere else.
But you can pay your own postage.
Oh, no, because Hammer are going to be sending them direct to you, so we don't have to pay the postage. So that's good.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Postage from Hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I thought you had to go around down to Dorch post office to send them.
I have made such good friends with the ladies at the post office because I'm going down there every day to give them General Witchfinder zines. They even gave me one of these. Look at this.
What have they given? Oh, lovely.
Oh, no way.
Ross is showing us a thing which we have in British post offices now, which is it is a plastic rectangle with various different shapes cut out of it to allow for people who are businesses to say, what postage do I need for my letter, my large letter, or my parcel? Yeah. So you put your item to be posted through the various slots.
Very, very smart.
Ross is trying to put his head through the largest slot. So somewhat like Jack Nicholson.
So I asked the ladies if I could buy one, and they whispered to me that they would give me one of their old ones, but I'm not allowed to tell anyone. So I've just told several thousand people on the internet that this happened.
Well,
so hopefully they're not going to be the next post office scandal. Is going to be that they were giving away one of these things.
Ross, what did you have to give them for it, Ross?
I just Beck said I flirt like mad to them. So
I just flex my muscle.
I just give my
gunshot.
My guns out.
Yeah.
Show him your 1 foot in the grave tattoo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a joke.
So essentially, all you need to do in order to get hold of these 4 Blu-rays is if you go to the link in the show notes, it will send you to a form you need to fill in. So you fill that form in, that will subscribe you to our email newsletter.
And I should also point out to people, we are not people who spam your inbox either.
Once a month.
Some people, exactly.
Yeah, we can't be bothered. We haven't got time.
We haven't got time.
Yeah.
So
no.
This is not going to annoy you. Yeah. Well, we promise.
But just say, James, my job is spamming people's email inboxes. That's my day. That's what I get paid for.
To save lives at sea, that is, please.
Yeah, so all you need to do that, and then we're going to do a draw at the end of July, and the lucky winner will get those 4 Blu-rays. And it's not going to be the last of these little competitions. So, yes. It's worth
so one winner gets 4 DVDs.
4 Blu-rays, John.
Yeah. Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's all done. Let's get on with the show, shall we?
Britain, an ancient kingdom with legends of violence, cruelty, and torment in its blood. Join your hosts, Ross, John, and James, as they bravely tread where few would dare. Witness their journey into the horrific history of British horror. They are the General Witchfinders.
So, ladies and gentlemen, goblins and ghouls, welcome back to the 71st episode of the General Witchfinders podcast. I'm James in Bournemouth in southern England.
I'm John Pountney here in the south of Wales, which when I last looked was still in South Wales. Last week I was in Suffolk, though.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, we need to hear about that later on.
Yes.
And I'm Ross in Dorchester in southern England, and this time we visited Penda's Fen.
I think the greatest visionary work in English music is The Dream of Gerontius by Sir Edward Elgar. It poses the most important question: what is to happen to my soul? Gerontius, Greek Geron Gerontos, an old man, has died. The music portrays his experience after death. An angel meets his soul beyond the grave. I think this angel is male. Yet he sings in a woman's voice, which makes him unearthly. He takes the dead man's soul across the grills of hell, where demons scream and mock them. Elgar himself was a pious Roman Catholic, but his message is true for us Protestants too, perhaps especially for those not blessed with the Christian faith. And though it is about the judgment on one dead man, it is surely about that other judgment that faces us daily, in every moment of our lives, over and over. We come to the crisis. Gerontius asks, shall he see God? The angel cries with joy, this soul is strong enough to look on God and stand the terror and the shock. And so they come before the throne of God.
Penda's Fen is the 16th episode of the 4th season of the British BBC anthology series Play for Today. The episode is a television play that was originally broadcast on the 21st of March, 1974. Vertigo magazine described Penda's Fen as one of the great visionary works of English film. It was chosen by Time Out London as one of the 100 best British films. Very understandable having watched it now. The play was written by David Rudkin, more on him later, and directed by Alan Clarke. Most of Clarke's output was for television rather than cinema, including work for the famous play strands, The Wednesday Play and Play for Today. His subject matter tended towards social realism, with deprived or oppressed communities as a frequent setting. A number of his works achieved notoriety and widespread criticism from the conservative end of the political spectrum, including, yes, Scum. I'm the daddy now, etc. In 1977, dealing with the subject of borstals, which, again, for non-British viewers, that is a young offenders institution.
Something which I was constantly threatened with growing up.
Right. You should have ended up in one, I think. Please.
There you are.
Would have done you good.
This was banned by the BBC and subsequently then remade by Clarke as a feature film released in 1979. The original television version was only screened after his death. Clarke directed the television play Made in Britain, starring Tim Roth in his TV debut as a racist skinhead and his negative relationship with authorities and racial minorities, from a screenplay by David Leyland.
I've got weird memories of seeing this. So I would have only been, I don't know, 6, 7 or something like that.
Strange. Okay. Are you sure
is that with Gary Oldman? Or is that something else?
Firm.
Did he do that as well?
Yeah. All right. And he, as Ross puts in his notes, a thing which always seemed to be on Channel 4 a lot growing up. It probably wasn't, but again, Mandela effect, as he also directed the feature film Rita, Sue and Bob 2, which was adapted by Andrea Dunbar from her stage. Featuring, of course, come on, who did Black Lace? Black Lace are in it.
Whenever you talk about Black Lace, it reminds me of the member of Black Lace who led the prison he was sent to for tax evasion in a conga around there.
Yeah. 222, come on into the conga, etc. Right, anyway, including the David Leland play Beloved Enemy on multinational corporations and Psy-Warriors on military interrogation. That title, you think, was going to be a lot more exciting than it is.
So I was like, I went and looked at that and I was like,
Clarke also directed David Bowie in Baal in 1982 for the BBC as part of Clarke's interest in Bertolt Brecht. His final production of Owl Hunters the Firm, as John just mentioned, covered football hooliganism through the lead character played by, Gary Oldman, but also explored the politics of Thatcher's Britain. Like several of Clarke's previous films, the screening of The Firm as part of BBC Two's Screen 2 series was controversial and criticised by some of the British press, inevitably, as being too violent and sexually explicit. Original music is by Paddy Kingsland of, our old friends, the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, who also electronically manipulated parts of the Britain recording. Kingsland joined the BBC as a tape editor before becoming a studio manager for BBC Radio 1. In 1970, he joined the Radiophonic Workshop, where he remained until 1981. His initial work was mostly signature tunes for BBC radio and TV programmes, and he recorded incidental music for programmes including The Changes, the radio and TV version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and several series of Doctor Who.
I do think Alan Clarke was the director of Last of the Summer Wine.
That might be another Clarke.
But I think it's Alan J.W. Bell. So I was very confused because I remember when I bought this on DVD, I read the booklet and Alan Clarke says something in the booklet like, I didn't know what the fuck it was about. And I thought, well, you wouldn't do because you did like 30 years of Last of the Summer Wine.
It just feels like if it was the same person who did Last of the Summer Wine, it was just someone, I'm going to need to get this all out of my system. And so I can then just go to absolute beige from this point onwards.
So, other well-known series with music by Kingsland include Michael Palin's Around the World in 80 Days, and then his Pole to Pole, and many schools television series, including Words and Pictures, the staple of my primary school days there, Rat-a-tat-tat, Watch, Number Crew, Storytime, English Express, Music Makers, Hodgepodge House, and the Look and Read series stories, Joe and the Sheep Rustlers, and Yes, the boy from space, the best one, or one of the two best ones, along with Dark Towers.
Yes, this person's basically done all the music of our childhood.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the play features Spencer Banks as Stephen Franklin, who was mainly active in the 1970s when he tended to play a geeky adolescent in glasses. Alongside Penda's Fen, he starred in the popular children's science fiction serial Time Slip as Simon Randall, no relation. Even though how a fictional character could be a relation of mine, I don't know.
Have you seen Time Slip before, John?
No, I have no knowledge of Time Slip whatsoever.
I've heard a lot about it, and I'm hoping it exists so that we can, at some point, pick up. Time Slips are one of my favourite parts of any 14 Times issue.
Nice. Well, David Rudkin's, another thing that David Rudkin wrote, having watched this today, I was like, well, who is this genius? And then he's written something else. It's like, and it's all on YouTube. And I thought, I'm gonna binge through this, and we'll talk about it later. But anyway, right, okay. So, meanwhile, back to Stephen Franklin. He was also in the 1981 radio version of John Wyndham's The Chrysalids, and he played PC Holroyd in the Clive Dunn vehicle Grandad. Yeah. And I feel that we should point out that for years, Clive Dunn confused the hell out of me.
It was sexually.
Yes. No. What it was that it was so convincing to me. Clive Dunn appearing in Dad's Army, I genuinely thought he was old.
Yeah.
And then for years, I was like, how comes Clive Dunn is one of the last surviving members of the Dad's Army Guard? He should be ancient.
110.
And then I remember my parents saying to me, they just made him look old. I was like, no.
Yeah.
What? How was that his thing?
But why did they cast a whole in Dad's Army, cast everyone of old? And they go, but the oldest one is going to be played by someone who's younger than all of them. Was it because of all the stunts they're going to need him to do?
Possibly. But it's just insane, isn't it? Anyway, sorry about that. Right, so back to it. And apparently Spencer Banks is now a garage administrator in Hertfordshire. And apparently he's an enthusiastic attender. That's not a euphemism.
What does that mean?
Of time slip and TV sci-fi conventions.
Oh, okay.
Good for him. Good. I'm pleased he's doing good.
Clive Dunn was 48 when Dad's Army started.
That's mad. He's younger than us.
Yeah, but he's younger than you two, but he's my age.
Yeah, but it's such brain mind. Anyway, no, let's not go down that. People, we're already into
Could John pass for someone who'd fought in the Boer War at this point? Maybe.
Okay.
A woman in Devisers did think I was a senior citizen recently when I went to an exhibition there, and I just laughed, but I think she thought she'd really offended me. But she claimed it was because she didn't have her glasses on.
Yeah,
nice.
And you walked in with a Zimmer frame.
Yeah.
So Georgine Anderson plays Mrs. Franklin. She had a career spanning 7 decades working in the Royal Shakespeare Company, the West End, and in television production. She was most known for starring in such programs as The Woman in White, Persuasion, and The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. She was also in Murder Most Horrid with Dawn French and played May, an elderly human woman who travels in a cosy, chintz-decorated hover van alongside her wife, Alice, in the 2007 Doctor Who episode Gridlock, representing the first married same-sex couple to appear in the show. Russell T Davies's work?
Yes, of course.
I don't know if I remember. Which one is that one, please?
It's early Freema one, where they go to a planet where everyone's stuck in a massive traffic jam.
Oh, it's the macro at the end.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Wow.
It's very good.
No, it's not.
And the South African actor Ron Smerzak plays Joel. Which one is Joel?
I'm not sure. I think that
might
be the
one
milkman.
of the boys who bullies him, or the milkman?
One of the two.
There's a lot of people in it who aren't credited, really, isn't there? It's quite a big cast, and then there's only 3 people credited, which is quite strange.
Or named characters, yeah.
Yes.
And Ross has put here that he went on to appear in several films, including American Ninja 4, The Annihilation, and Cyborg Cop. Wow, amazing.
I just love the breadth of some people's careers.
Yeah. And how did you end up being in such video shop fodder? Incredible. Straight to video.
I'd love a career like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's still time.
Ian Hogg plays Arn. Hogg is best known for his lead role in the BBC One TV series Rockcliffe's Babies and its follow-up, Rockcliffe's Folly, playing Detective Sergeant Alan Rockcliffe, and he's probably most notable for our audiences as the villain Josiah Samuel Smith in the Doctor Who serial Ghostlight.
superb.
Great.
I also loved it back in the day when there would be a program where you would have different variations on the title for the different series, so like Rockford Babies, and the next one would be Rockford's Follies, and often that was always nice.
Nice. Jenny Hesselwood plays Mrs. Arn. She was once married to Freddie Jones, who will forever be famous for his role in the David Lynch version of Dune, The Elephant Man, Krull, and Young Sherlock Holmes. But for Ross, he will always be Mr. Scruton, the headmaster from Adrian Mole. Jenny Hesselwood and Freddie Jones are the parents of the phenomenally successful actor Toby Jones. Yes. And
are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good God. He was in Emmerdale for a bit as well, Freddie Jones.
Yeah. And then Graham Lehman plays Sir Edward Elgar. Wow.
Amazing.
That's how mad this thing is. Yeah. Lehman has an excellent Doctor Who pedigree, which we should list here for its completeness. Arguable, says James. He was the controller in the second Doctor serial, The Macra Terror. No prize available for knowing this link between this story and the aforementioned Gridlock.
I've already mentioned
John's already done it. They've got the same baddie in it.
The Macra, yes.
Great. Lehman played Price in Fury from the Deep, was the Grand Marshal in The Seat of Death, and also played a Time Lord in Colony in Space. Not sure if it's the same one. In The Three Doctors a few years later. He was in the Dead of Night TV series and played two different characters in two different episodes of Doomwatch. Lehman suffered with limited mobility due to multiple sclerosis. Consequently, the major of his later acting roles saw him sitting down. And then Ivor Roberts plays Franklin's form teacher, Cook, and more on him in a bit. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, yours truly, being a teacher, that was the character that I
identified with. Yeah, what's stealing porn off for children.
Wait for it. We'll get onto that soon, Ross. Roberts was an actor and a television continuity announcer on regional television in Wales, who often appeared in comedic roles. Among his better-known roles were the characters of Arnold Thomas in the television series of Oh, Dr. Beeching, one of the many, many sort of hidey-high spin-offs.
Amazing.
And Mr. Barnes in You Rang My Lord, another one of those. Part of, as Ross says, the hugely successful Croftiverse. He played a gas inspector in an episode of Tales of the Unexpected and was in an episode of Sorry! ! Fantastic. Yeah, the best. Here we go again. He also played Morgan in a little-known Doctor Who story called Genesis of the Daleks, and he appeared, as did an actress called Joan Scott, who played the lady in Penda's Fen in ITV's Black Hole for all British actors. Boon. Brilliant. Okay.
Elfit.
Yeah, the day I can't get a Boon connection is the day we have to stop, I think.
I'm going to get my glasses off now.
I was reading about Boon today because I saw that Matt Lewis, what's his name?
I don't know.
George Dawes.
Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas had posted a thing on his Twitter today, which was like a kind of thing coming soon on Thames Television. And one of the animated squares that was a bit like when they trapped Zod in Superman featured the disembodied face of Michael Elphick. And then the last vision of it was like the Thames logo, and then you're in a lounge, and it pulled back, and the black and white lounge turned to colour through the
power of Boon.
The power of television. And then so I started reading about Boon. And it was on from 1986 to 1992 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then there was a one-off special in 1995, but it actually wasn't a one-off special at all. It was just an episode that they hadn't got space to transmit at the time. So it took them 3 years to show the last episode, which is
the accidental extra Boon.
Yeah.
England must have been knocked out of a sporting tournament early, and they're like, "Oh Jesus, we're scrabbling around for stuff to fill in here." That's what it feels like to me.
Stick Boon on. Stick that last episode of Boon on.
Get the lost Boon on.
Maybe the Queen Mum died or something.
Possibly. So 1995? No, she was like 2001 or 2002. Wasn't
anyway. Decorating my flat in Cardiff.
Blood.
No, it's her blood. Yeah.
Okay, let's get on with this. Let's go. So, starts off with, my notes just says, this is England, and it's incredibly evocative. We start off with a number of shots of the most English-looking countryside imaginable, which I read is Warwickshire.
Oh,
and they film lots of it.
I think it's Worcestershire.
Oh, Worcestershire. Sorry.
So you're not far off, Jane.
Yeah. And I think that's because the writer David Rudkin, that's where he's from. And more on Rudkin, as we said, as we get into it in a bit. Yes, he was very, very much inspired, I think, by that landscape. And I feel that Rudkin, even though not the sexuality part, but I feel that he's kind of written about his life in a way. That he is someone who is born in London, went to Oxford and did classics at Oxford. So basically ancient Greek, ancient Roman, so possibly ancient religions, although Manichaeism is 2nd, 3rd century. But even still, that notion of the pre-Christian world. And then after his graduation, he had to go and do his national service.
Oh.
So I thought all the stuff about, on one hand, the student who's, finding out about alternative views of the world that are not Christianity, whilst then having to deal with institutions and the armed forces. I thought, I just have a feeling that this is very, very much Rudkin channeling aspects of his life in.
Yeah. So we got fantastic 70s sans serif fonts over all of this stuff as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
and quite ghostly music as well. In quite a weird, because it's mono, and I watched it with headphones. It's kind of strained and a bit weird, isn't it? Not deliberately. I think it's just a bad recording, and you do have the kind of, well, quite soon you have the radiophonic workshop stuff kind of prolongs one note, doesn't it, into a kind of scream, which is very 70s.
It is. And just because they've had an album out recently, it's very similar to sort of the sonic architecture that the boards of Canada get.
Oh, okay.
That distorted 70s vibe. I got a bit of that feeling off of it too.
Oh, my country. I say over and over, I am one of your sons. It is true. I am. I am. Yet how shall I show my love?
And then we got the image, this is the image I thought this was like a John Poutney shot with the superimposed burning hand over the...
Yes, I've done some very similar stuff to that. I basically copied that shot in a thing I made for Halloween. God, 8 years ago or something now, which was all made of still frames because I couldn't be bothered to...
I think it was in the last...
Film something.
Issue of the magazine.
Oh, yeah, it was, yeah. I did those originally in 2018. I had totally forgotten they're in the zine, yes. So that was called Frames, which I thought was quite a good name for a 1970s BBC horror anthology. And then it was my friend Charlie. Yeah, that's it.
Lovely.
So I basically just ripped that off.
Knowing it? Because have you seen this before then, John?
I have watched the first half of it some time ago, but I can't remember when. And it was so weird that I turned it off.
Made you feel a bit funny?
Well, it's just... Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if I wasn't watching it for this podcast, I might not have finished it. But
really?
I'm glad I did, so...
Well, I loved it, but there's a kind of infectious mania about it, isn't there?
Yeah.
That when you've turned it off, you have to go outside and have a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Because I watched the Formula One, because it's the British Grand Prix. The Formula One was actually on normal telly today. So I watched that, and then I thought, I'll watch Penda's Fence. I put this on, and going from like a live contemporary sports broadcast to this was just like, whoa, my head
turn. Yeah.
I was just all over the place, and the start of it is quite wild, isn't it?
The pace for the whole thing is very soporific.
And that's what I've put here. That's one of my first notes, is that I said that bearing in mind that, once we've had these establishing shots of the countryside and the burning hand, we start off with, it said it's our protagonist, Stephen, just giving like a monologue about music, and the shot is literally just him sat there with his eyes shut. And I've put
for ages.
Can you imagine a drama today just that starts with a teenager meditating on Elgar?
Yeah.
And I just put, it was a different time.
Yeah, I put here how boring it would be to be a teenager before the internet. We
were teenagers before the internet.
Yeah.
But stuck with the media that you own. So you have to listen to the same thing over and over again. But
that's all I do now.
But this is like an extreme version of this. Imagine if you was like the son of a pastor in the middle of the countryside, and you just had like 4
Elgar
records. This basically is my childhood and teenage years. It's really not very different. I grew up on a farm which looks very similar to this. It did make me think, God, this is partially autobiographical about me. It's very odd to watch. And I think that's might have been why I turned it off last time, actually, that it was like, this is quite close to home.
Yeah. Well, my next line was like, it would just drive you mad. So I think if this was biographical, John maybe it explains a lot. But one of the things I put here is that teenage diaries are a big part of media as me growing up. So this reminded me of Adrian Mole, reminded me of Anne Frank, it reminded me of The Confessions of a Teenage Health Food Addict, or whatever it was called. What was that?
I don't remember
Teenage
that.
Health Freak.
Teenage Health Freak, yes, yeah.
Was that on ITV?
Channel 4,
yes.
I think.
I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah. But
I don't watch commercial channels.
Because, that people wrote a lot more diaries, and it was like a medium of being able to get into the minds of always white middle class.
People wrote loads of stuff, and I don't know if people write anything now.
Journaling.
People wrote poetry, people journal, people wrote, people to pass the time. People wrote stuff
and thought about stuff, and
and now people don't. They just sit and look at stuff
and go mad when they start hearing their own thoughts and think. and then they have to go to therapy.
Well, they start asking ChatGPT whether they should kill themselves.
Christ.
So for the benefit of our listener, a quick context as to what is going on in this play is, so we're introduced to the protagonist Stephen, he's on the cusp of his 18th birthday, as John says, very, very typical isolated English village. And possibly the only thing I couldn't figure out was, is he attending a private school or a state school?
I would say it's a private
school.
like boys' grammar.
But he's not a boarder. I think he's
not a boarder.
Because his dad being a pastor, or his dad being in the Church of England, that used to be one of the perks.
I looked it up, James. He's a rector.
He's a rector. Okay.
Which means that rector and vicar are quite carry on, but it's 2 very distinct things, and I thought were quite interesting.
Mr. Hodges the rector?
Yeah.
No, that's the no, he was the verger.
Oh, the verger.
The verger.
So he is attending this either very, very plummy grammar school or a private school, and it's clear that he doesn't fit in. He does not.
Okay, sorry.
I don't think he fits in. I don't think he fits in at all.
But I think he's
massively.
But I think he's desperately trying to at the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But so the story is,
I don't know if he is at all at any point.
I would say he's very much someone who's trying to uphold sort of the morals of the school, and he's very much like a one at the beginning of the thing. That there's right and wrong, black and white, and this is what the rules are at the school. This is what the Bible says, and anyone who doesn't do any of these things is wrong and unnatural, and he's very sure of himself at that point.
Well, there's a scene at the start where he's in like a debating society, and he comes across as very pompous. He's basically the Mary Whitehouse of the school.
He reminded me of Rory Stewart at this point.
I'll say it a bit later on for the bit, but I did say, and I'm saying this, dear listener, as someone that was bullied for being, as Ross will tell you, Ross was at school with me. I got picked on a lot. I got bullied a lot. And all I would say is this kid would have been bullied into the ground.
Yes. I hated him on sight.
Sorry. It's the bit when he's talking to the army officer and he goes, "Excuse me, you made a mistake." And I'll be like, shut up. Shut up. Shut up,
rector. So a rector rather than a vicar historically held the rights to the parish's tithes. So that's the property income. So you have a tithe barn. He's fully responsible for the spiritual and administrative rights of an area. And he holds that role for life. So that is quite different to a vicar who moves around quite a lot, don't they?
Okay, interesting.
They go to vicars are quite often sent to a new flock to be like, you know, in like a Jimmy McGovern. Does he write plays like that? Someone writes a lot of plays like that, don't they? Where they go, a priest is sent to like Liverpool and then turns out they're gay or something in the 90s. One of those. I was thinking, is this the first thing we've ever watched with a very, and I want to use the word subtext, but it's not a subtext at all, really. It's the first thing we've got with like a quite overt, a queer subtext, isn't it?
We had a whole thing about the Brides of Dracula having...
oh, yes!
But that was a bit more subtle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's much more subtle than this.
I felt like that was more of a modern reading on a...
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how strongly, because I say subtext, but it's not really a subtext.
No.
I think almost from the start, the parents are implying with their dialogue that they think that he's gay.
Yeah. And they're quite accepting of it, which I thought was good.
Yeah, which is quite surprising. Because then I did some Googling and I looked at like, when were the first things on UK TV that had a queer or gay subtext? And it was like, there was one that was 1970, which was Ian McKellen doing Edward II. But then other stuff was like, Colin in EastEnders,
Quentin Crisp.
What's her name? Anna Friel. Yeah. Naked Civil Servant was after this, James.
But
this isn't mentioned. And I was really surprised because it's quite far out for its depictions of, and he mentions homosexuality at one point by name, which also is quite shocking for this kind of era.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised.
He effectively has a wet dream at one point over touching another teenage boy, which and but we can come into that later. But I thought that again very brave to have this on TV back then.
Especially when this was episode 16 of, what did you say, series 4, James?
No, I didn't. I can't remember.
It was episode 16 of the 4th series of
So that, and each one of those was a one-off play for today. Each one was a standalone play. So imagine the BBC making stuff like that now. One a week, and there's 14 of them in a series. And they can't make a different time. Doctor Who's only got 8 episodes a year now.
And bearing in mind how excited everybody got over things like Baby Reindeer and Boyhood or whatever it was. I'm going, Adolescence. Adolescence. That's one. Oh, this is the most cutting edge thing. Oh, this is speaking to everyone should be watching this. And you think, my God, look at what they were cranking out. They were knocking out a different thing every week.
And
now, anyway, old men complaining. Back
to where are we up to?
The titles,
we're at the start.
No, it's all right, Mother. You've ruined it now.
Yes.
We've established that Stephen is this, this, what is he? He's not a vicar. We've said what he is.
Pastor or rector.
He's the rector's son. He's coming up on 18 at this kind of posh private school where he doesn't fit in. And at the start of the start of the play, he is dressing up in his cadet's uniform. Yes. Now, again, this needs to be something which we need to explain to our non-British listener because it's so weird. And it's one of those things you realize that not all countries do this. That in this country, we have this odd tradition where we get kind of schoolboys to just decide, pretend you're in the army. Pretend you're in the army for a day. And full whack in the army, like wear the rank. Camouflage, have a rank, a uniform, do parades, the whole thing. Now, when I started teaching, when I trained at Bournemouth School for Boys, they still had an active cadet force there.
Oh my God! They do a school.
And now at my current employer at Brockenhurst College, they've got like a full. It's one of the courses you can do, which is like preparation for joining the armed forces. So one day a week, they're all walking around in camo.
Oh my God!
You do feel like, have we been invaded? It's always a really weird vibe. But it is such a strange thing that we have in this country. And in many ways, of course, Baden-Powell, it's the same thing with the Scouts. Baden-Powell had been in the army and basically just wanted to get boys ready to go and go and kill people for the British Empire, which is mental if you think about it.
I think it was a point when people were trying to get humans ready for modern life that wasn't just agricultural service. And the way the world was changing so quickly, you had to be a radio operator, or you had to be able to drive a tractor, or you had to do all these things. Yeah. Now it looks really hopelessly militaristic, and that's what it was. Originally, it was called the Officer Training Corps.
Yeah.
And it's what's in If as well.
Yes,
Lindsay
I was going to say, this reminded me of If.
So this is, for me, it's very, very If, this part of the film. It's the madness of this school system. And it's a school system that I was very close to being a part of. My mother really, really wanted me to be in a school like this.
I'm sure that would have gone down really well, John. I think.
I was going to say, I just the thought of John in the cadets.
So we went to, in Warwickshire, which obviously isn't far from where this is shot. I don't know about now, but when I was growing up, it still had the 11 plus. So you had a high school and you had the grammar schools. So the grammar schools in a massively Tory-centric county, that was where everyone went that was posh. And all the idiots and the thickies went to the high school. So basically, it's this really elitist, horrible system. Obviously, kids that are kind of not conventionally gifted are just then shoved in classes where they don't fit in, and it's all a bit of a fucking mess. But my mother tried to go one step ahead of that. So rather than me trying to get into the school that William Shakespeare went to,
amazing,
which was one of my two choices. That's how mad Warwickshire is. So that's Kes, which is King Edward's grammar school in Stratford. She tried to make me go to Warwick Boys, which is a very, very posh school next to Warwick Castle. And then there was another one, which is out in the Cotswolds, which was basically like this school. So it's Victorian buildings in among sports fields. And she wanted me to take a test for the bursary to get in there. So I basically just spoiled the ballot paper as it was. And I didn't, I wasn't sent there. There was no way I was going to go to a school like that. So I deliberately failed the 11 plus as well, because I didn't want to go to Kes. I just wanted to stay with my friends effectively, but in going from junior to the big school. And I don't know if you have that in other parts of the country where, do you all move together from junior to big school?
Yes, kind of. We did a similar thing.
Yes.
All my friends went to grammar school, and I went with all the knobs to where I met James. Really, one of the only other people I ever met who was actually nice. So.
Because I shouldn't have been there, but that's a conversation for another time.
I still remember blackboards, wooden desks. Like, this looks no different to my school.
Still had inkwells and some of our desks.
Yeah. So I think for us, what's quite interesting is that we can look at this and say, we absolutely identify with the school system here, which is grotesque.
Yes, very much so.
And I don't think kids now, thankfully, really understand how awful, some of them do, I'm sure, but I don't think they understand how awful and kind of like a dictatorship schools used to be.
I think they have to pay for the privilege of it nowadays. So
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah.
Because I've been to state schools now, and they're amazing with the technology and stuff they have there. Whereas some of the schools I went to were these ancient Victorian edifices, where you had these horrible uniforms. And it's mad to think now, when you start to think, I'm nearly 50. So when someone say that was retiring, when I was like 11 or 12, they would have been born in like the 20s.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're almost Victorian.
Yeah.
And we were still being taught by them. Yeah. Like 11 years from the millennium.
But that's why I've been on this podcast called Sophomore Lit a couple of times, where you talk about stuff you read at school. And I said nearly everything's about the Second World War, because that's all they were. They were just all obsessed with the Second World War.
Yes.
You know.
Well, to be fair, lots of them, you can understand why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had a load of projects that were like just drawing pictures of Hitler and it's mad, isn't it? But I don't think anything really, nothing that we've watched up to this really reinstilled with me the horror of what schooling was. On a personal level of, I really don't want to be in these places with these really posh twats. That idea of nationalism, pride in patriotism, pride in being a good Englishman and all that stuff, which is what the subtext of this early part of the film is, isn't it? Elgar and all that stuff. It's like, fucking hell, this is all like dead. This is dead stuff. And all the stuff, it's all wrapped up in Christianity and
he's in the Sixth Form Debate Society, and the debate is, this house believes that the media are a source of evil to society.
Classic.
Yeah.
Which is literally true now in lots of ways, isn't it? Which is why the film works, is because it's so, you don't want to kind of side with Stephen, but also in lots of ways you agree with what he says.
Well, at this point, at the beginning, like I said, he's very sure of himself. I think there's been something on the television which is probably very similar to some of the plays which this director had made, and people are kicking off about it, and people asking if it to be banned, and he was pretty much sticking with that.
He's cross about the fact that been on TV. There has been a documentary series called Jesus the Man.
Okay,
and that's what he's like. How dare they? These people are our heroes for stopping this from being on TV. And, we are a Christian nation. He's very, very Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Yes.
What he says something about the mother and father of the country, doesn't he?
Yes.
And he holds up a newspaper with a picture of this couple.
Yeah.
And they turn up again throughout the narrative, don't they? In a way which is...
It's part of his fantasies, yeah.
It's really fucking hard to follow.
Yeah. We see a scene where the mother and his mother and father are in bed, and they're saying that we said we've got to tell him something when he's 18, and they're debating whether they should go ahead with it, but they said we promised that we would. So there's a little mystery set up there. And then
I don't think there is a mystery, is there? The only thing it would be is adoption, I think.
And then we cut to another debate or public meeting in the called Any Questions in the village hall.
This is amazing.
And which is
amazing scene.
The sort of thing that
doesn't happen anymore.
They got nothing else to do, so they just go and have a little debate.
Let's have a debate.
Yeah, and I feel like I would love this, man. It's
You wouldn't though, Cleve, because these days it would be like, get the boats, burn the boats, burn the fuckers on the boats, send them all blow them up. Because this play really does kind of look into the future, the crystal ball, without naming anything to do with the internet or anything like that, but really does pinpoint all the madness that comes with nationalism and patriotism, which is a really difficult thing to quantify, because obviously in Wales and in Scotland, when you look at a nationalist political party, that is Plaid or the SNP, and you can't put those in the same bracket as Reform or what's the other new one now? Restore.
Yeah, well, it's because you got the socialist nationalist countries.
Yes, which is again is very difficult to kind of, and that's why something like this play is great, because it's given 90 minutes to kind of be ambiguous rather than be a drama, which is like, if they made this now, it would just be bashing you over the head with a fucking cricket bat about. I think this is the kind of thing that Russell T Davies always thinks he's going to make and write.
I would agree with that, John.
But it never manages. Yeah, it's not subtle. The subtlety in this is like, oh, right, okay. And then you have this kind of, in the minutiae of this village hall meeting, you have the political discourse of basically the 20th century Britain, don't you? Which is the blue guy and the red guy being like, and then they're talking about this weird
something they're building in the fields, isn't it? Yeah,
something they're building under the field. So this idea of something new underneath the oldest kind of, it's like Quatermass weird shit going on.
We should also point out that the person who is saying this in this meeting, the aforementioned meeting, is this character that we're introduced to, this man called Arne, A-R-N-E.
Fantastically articulate chap. He's brilliant.
Yes. Incredible. This is what I've written, Russ. That's Ian Hogg. And we're told that he is a writer for TV. And as John says, we suddenly get this incredible seeming off the top of his head monologue about what's wrong with Britain right now, which is incredible to hear. But then also he starts sort of riffing and freestyling. And then he starts to say, this area is Penda's Fen. And this land has been here for so long. And, the old King Penda ruled here. But now what are they doing? This techno, what does he call it?
Suicide or
something like that. He's like this technocratic beast. They are building something under the ground. What are they building? They won't tell us. And by this point, guys, I'm sat upright. I was like, fucking hell, this is great.
I'm on board.
This is like, there's so much going on here already. I'm like, there's an underground military base in this? I was like, whoa, where's this going? Sadly, either due to monetary cost, time, or what have you, this is an idea that ends up going nowhere.
Yes, but there are some lovely bits where it does.
Alluding to it.
There are some really nice bits.
Well, it's hinted. Yes. I think it's hinted that there's things happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the very next scene.
Yeah, but then is that part of what happens to Stephen at the end of the play when he
sets on fire?
When he's
that's a good
set
point.
on fire.
I didn't think of that.
I mean, either.
But it's interesting.
It's such a strange program.
Yes.
But his father is up on the stage with the. It's interesting. Yeah. So you got Arne on one side, his father in the middle, and then you've got this this sort of like old major figure. And I think it's quite interesting that his father's in the middle, because I think it's one of these, like, when we find out that his father has got this duality between the two.
His father is very ambiguous.
Yeah, and I really like that character. But I think it was a really nice blocking about how they've done that. But Stephen at this point is absolutely hating everything this guy is talking about.
Yes, how dare you, sir?
Yeah. But then we get and this is why I think we are able to put this in our horror podcast. We get our first bit of horror. So we have some teenagers driving home, obviously a bit pissed, and the car
delinquents.
And the car,
I put the delinquents.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what the car is?
Yes. I thought John will know what this car is.
It's either it's a Wolseley or a Riley 1500. They're both the same shape. They're just different because of their badges. So it's a Wolseley or Riley 1500. Similar floor plan, I think, to a Morris Minor. And if it's the Wolseley, I think the badge on the grille lights up.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, lovely.
I don't think the Riley lit up. So Wolseley and Riley were two very, very... You'd think of that as like a BMW or an Audi now. So British car brands in the 30s, 40s, 50s, which are very luxurious and and sporty. That is seen as a sporty saloon. Bizarre as it may seem. And now it just looks like a poached egg on wheels, doesn't it?
Lovely though.
Yes. So,
but
they've been out.
And there's a lovely, and I think this scene would be in like an A24 horror movie nowadays.
Yeah, totally.
So the car pulls up, one of the guys gets out for a piss, and you're just left on that shot for ages.
You can hear them talking in the car.
Yeah. And then he's coming back, and they all start like, oh, look, he's running. And when he gets to the car, he's like, smoking.
He's on fire.
Yeah. It's fucking brilliant. And then you see that he's got some kind of like mutation or growth.
Something's happened to
it. Like radiation burns with his hand in his
very
face.
Quatermass, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It's extremely Quatermass too.
We then get something which is, bearing in mind this film's got a lot of dream sequences, this incredible shot where we see him in hospital. And
that shot is bizarre, isn't it, James?
And sat around his hospital bed is a policeman, clearly someone from the armed forces, like a major, and a doctor,
and they all
turn at one. And what I put is that is amazing. What I put is that is just symbolizing the power structure, of Britain. I thought, there's all sorts going on here. This is great. I'm enjoying this.
Yes.
So yeah, but then unfortunately we never see anything of him again.
Yeah. Oh no, we don't. No, we don't know. Yeah.
No, we don't know. It's it's basically the best. If you think of a 90s Travis or Radiohead video,
yes,
that's one. Like is it Jonathan Glazer? It's one of those scenes,
John.
isn't it? That
I hadn't thought of that, but you're 100% right.
Where
it is eerie and
the whole video.
Weird.
You probably wouldn't see the band until like the last frame.
Well, the band would be the people sitting around the bed, wouldn't they?
Yes.
But
it's just that era when pop videos are like really, really expensive, and you know, the Travis videos for The Man Who or whatever it's called, like Writing to Reach You and those ones. I still watch those quite regularly. I don't even like the music, but the videos are so good and so expensive. You're just like, these must have cost as much as like a fucking feature film. Some of them.
I'm thinking of the video for the Universal from Blur now.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of Radiohead's video for Just, the Why Are You Lying on the Floor?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Incredible.
Anyway, yes. So we get that kind of little spike of horror that suggests that, once again, is that what Arne was saying, he is onto something. That there is something going on underneath Penda's fen. But so again, sadly, and the only kind of down point for me is that plot isn't then properly developed on fully.
I don't think you need it though, do you?
Okay,
it's not something you need. I think it's done really well in that kind of, it just hints at like what's going on. All you need to see is the barrier. And the kid cycles up to the barrier and the guy goes, and he's like, why is the road closed? And he's just like, so you can't go down it. And it's like,
why have you closed the road?
Oh, he's horrible, isn't
like,
he? He's
Jesus
such a
Christ,
horrible little
get
kid.
Kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's meant to be like this whole, this forbidden knowledge, isn't it? These are the things where everyone's telling you it's going to be dangerous if you go down there. But, you know, and which is obviously a metaphor for being gay.
Do you keep hearing podcast ads, like this one, for example, but always wonder how you actually get involved with them for your own brand or organization? Well, it's easier than you think. We're Acast, and we give you the platform to do it all yourself. Browse thousands of popular podcasts, choose the shows that match your perfect audience, set your budget, and launch. And if you want a hand, our podcast specialists are there to help you launch with confidence. This is podcast advertising without barriers. Get started at acast.com/advertise.
And it's at this point as well, we then get Manichaeism comes into it.
Yeah, so this is why I said, James, you need to get your philosophy stroke RE teacher hat on first.
I'm
please.
ready for you guys. Okay, so Manichaeism is a religion that, so kind of sort of Persian, that kind of Middle Eastern religion from sort of the 3rd century AD. So Christianity had become established by this point. And for a long time, it was seen as the rival to Christianity. Until the birth of Islam in the 7th century, this Manichaeism was big for a long time, and they are exactly right with what they say on the in Penda's fen, which is it's seen that at play at the universe are two competing forces of good and evil that are always at war with each other. Once again, if it helps our listener at home, it's like the Force in Star Wars. There's a light side and a dark side, and they're always in conflict with each other. And it's up to us to manifest the positive, as it were. And it's, that is the teaching of Manichaeism, is you've got to stand up to the dark. So what's interesting is, well, you may find this, you might not find this interesting, is St. Augustine, the very famous Christian theologian. He started off as a Manichaean, and then he converted to Christianity. And so often scholars say you can really see that he still had sort of like the fingerprints of Manichaeism on some of his writings when he wrote about good and evil. And also, as obviously, as I said, like as Islam rose to prominence, it died out in the Middle East, but it had also spread over to the Far East. And it was interesting to see that it ended up being kind of folded into elements of Taoism, or Taoism, if you prefer. So if you think about the whole yin yang, black and white, it's all of that. So it's really interesting so what we get set up is this notion of there is an alternative way of looking at the world. It's not just that Christianity thing of you must be good because the Bible and the institutions tell you to be good, but rather we as people all feature elements of good and bad within us. And that's kind of the message.
Yeah, so I was saying that at the beginning of the story, he thinks he's right and everyone else is wrong. And, and there's black and white, and you can just be one side of it. Also, he's talking about dreams he's having, and those dreams are very Christian focused. The things about the church, and there's angels and things like that. And as the story goes on, I think things become more grey rather than black and white, and he starts questioning: is a definite one religion? Is there definite right and wrong? And also his vision started becoming more sort of pagan and less Christian as we're going on. So they go and meet the writer and his wife at their home.
Yes,
and there's a bit where
so that's Arne, and just unfortunately Mrs. Arne isn't given a name; she's just Mrs. Arne.
Yeah. And they're talking about the cat has got a. This is something I wanted to ask you guys. Is there something here which I'm missing? But they're talking about the cat has got a leaf on it because
the old ways, Ross.
Yeah, it's like. It's not using veterinary science or something, is it? It's just
it's very Wicker Man, isn't it? That's what they're doing in the Wicker Man.
Yeah, but there's something she said about because it's natural, she doesn't notice it's there. Whereas if you put something unnatural on it, that you start to worry it. So, and I think I've just worked out in my mind now. But if they're talking about if your religion is something natural, based in nature, that is something which is not going to give you any problems. But if you've got something which is unnatural, put onto you, all you're going to be doing is worrying about it all the time. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Well done, Russ's brain.
And also at this point, I feel that there was from my notes, I was like, I've got to talk to the guys about that. And I feel that what you're saying about the whole natural thing, this is the point, right? At the moment, I'm reading this book, which I'm really enjoying, called Dark Renaissance. And it's all about Christopher Marlowe, the playwright Christopher Marlowe. And it's all about basically his life, but the author is a guy called Stephen Greenblatt. And he uses like every aspect of his life to tell you something about Elizabethan society and what it was like. I'm a nerd for this stuff. I love it. And what's so fascinating about it is he kind of says is that Marlowe went to Cambridge on a scholarship. His family were poor. He didn't have any money. And what they say is that unless you were someone who was like a lord or rich, the main point of you going to university was to learn to be a vicar. That's what you did. That was the career that they trained you up for. But what he says in this book was, what is so fascinating is that while they were there, they would have learned about the ancient Greeks. They would have been taught classics and taught that your mainline Christian religion might not be right and might not be true. And he also suggests, and this was the debating club bit, I almost spoke about it then, is he said that in order to pass their degree, they had to learn how to argue things from both sides. And so they said that a lot of these young male scholars would have finished, kind of got their degree and then said, right, well, what do you want to do for a career? And they said the vast majority of them, it would have been, okay, well, now you need to go and be a vicar in the church. And they all would have been sent out to these, these parishes, secretly knowing that they didn't really believe in this stuff.
Yes.
And it's really just like this method of control. It's incredible.
Yeah. There is an M.R. James story, very similar to that, James, called The Fenstanton Witch.
Cool.
Where the subtext is that I think that two men are in this era that you're talking about are studying to become priests, but then they go on this kind of pilgrimage and they see a witch or something and they basically shit themselves and go mad. And it's one I think that was unpublished in his lifetime.
Wow.
I think it's one that he was unhappy with, but it is a really, really good story where there's this nighttime kind of pilgrimage aspect where they're walking through this kind of moonlit landscape, seeing all this weird shit going on, and they're basically just bricking it. And it's a really, really good story.
And there was also just a bit in the story when I think the boy asked his dad, don't you believe in God? And he said, I believe in the truth. And
the truth,
yes. Which is, I think, is a really great answer for him to give at that point.
Whenever I see stuff like this now, I think of Nicholas Parsons in The Curse of Fenric, Doctor Who, who was my first experience of a vicar without faith who gets killed, who gets eaten by the vampires in episode 3 or whatever.
Herbivores,
Yes, the herbivores. And I always think, God, that was like, he was very good in that role. And it was Nicholas Parsons, I think, fair play to him.
But again, I think that shows, as kids, we are brought up to think there's right and wrong, and goodies and baddies, and that adults are sure of things, you know. And I think that's one of the things that still shocks me at nearly 50 years old, that I think at one point I'm going to be sure of myself and I will be grown up and I know what to do. And it's never going to happen.
No, it never does. No. And thinking that sending someone to one of these institutions like the school that's depicted here is going to set someone up for life in that way is just madness, because it is just about sending a male to an old boys club, and that's how you get on in life.
Yeah.
I think that's what is depicted here.
And they're taught not to ask questions.
Yes, I was about to say, taught control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the method of control, absolutely.
Kind of progressively turns his back on that, doesn't he? As he realises that they are all twat.
We've also got the bit that I thought was like a John picture, which is we get the shot of the Elizabethan building, and next to it is the milk float.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought, I feel this is like a picture John would take. The contrast between the ancient building and the milk float, but yet that milk float now also being slightly out of time.
I felt like I knew the Elizabethan building. If it's in Worcestershire, I felt it rang a bell, but it might just be a National Trust kind of property. Is this the bit where all the kids are having their hands chopped off?
Not yet, no.
In a bit, we're coming up to that.
Because Hell's been having problems with a phone today, and she was trying to get a phone on, and I was watching that part, and I threw my headphones down, and I was just like, this is even more fucking mental than I thought it was going to be, because it just like, it just goes in like a mad.
Well, this
you don't expect.
This is a dream sequence where it's almost like a Terry Gilliam sunrise with a angel coming up, and then some rugby boys in a scrum, and him just staring at their muddy bums.
It's very. It makes me think of what's his name that directed Tommy. It's very Ken Russell.
Ken Russell.
Yeah. This is really weird, and it's that mid-70s kind of mad. Tommy, the Devils. I think there's a bit of that kind of influence on it here. That it's all like, this sequence is wild, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
again, and then does it end up with the gargoyle sat on his chest? Is that what happens?
After he's stroking this young man's body, and you do see his penis, which is like.
Do you?
What? Yeah,
you do. Yeah,
It's got some fire in front of it, and he burns his hand.
I must have been writing some notes.
Yeah. And then he wakes up with a gargoyle on his chest like that. Is it a Bosch painting with the night terrors thing with the thing sitting on his?
That's Goya.
It's Goya.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very like Bach in.
The devils,
the demons.
The demons. Sorry.
Yes. But again, it's a very effective, very mad imagery. And I think it works really well because they don't overdo the mad imagery. You've got this very bucolic kind of beautiful summer, fields and bird song. And then you've got these mad kind of very, very nightmarish interludes where, he wakes up and there's a gargoyle sat on his chest. And it doesn't really look very clunky.
No.
It looks really well done.
It is unnerving. It's more frightening than most of the Hammer stuff we've ever watched.
Yes. I will give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange that this is the image they put on all of the promotional stuff and on the covers and everything. I feel like it's probably sort of the least.
It's an arresting image, though.
Yeah, a representation of the story. But yes, yeah. And then this is the point he says the word unnatural, and I think this is when he comes to the realization that he likes boys because he's had a sex dream about boys, and then he won't run down to see the milkman, right, which he was doing before.
Because he's scared.
He hides from the parade when he's at school, and he goes off and he goes beyond the barrier.
Well, I think he's ashamed at first, isn't he?
Yes.
Because it's that idea of unclean and naturalness that is a kind of Christian idea of man and woman and Adam and Eve and all that nonsense. Which it doesn't really rub the right way with him at first.
No, in the fen. Then he goes for a ride on his bike, and he gets run over by the milk float.
He goes too fast down the hill, doesn't he?
Yeah. And we can see that they're changing the name of the on the signs and stuff, and he's starting to get. I think it's a case of like Penda's fen is starting to come back, or the place names are changing. And I think this is where he does have the dream of the. It's almost quite Wicker Man-esque with the people all in a circle,
garden.
In a garden.
They're all in like yellow and green outfits, aren't they? It's quite
very
well
Wicker
shot.
Man in a way.
Yeah, it looks very
certainly DNA there.
It looks a bit like a fashion editorial, but then you hear this kind of like noise, but you can't really make out, and then it's basically little kids going up to a tree stump to have their hands cut off. Happily have their hands hacked off. And they put their hands on the stump where all this blood is. And then this kind of smiling man chops their hands off.
Yeah. So I couldn't get the meaning of this particular vision.
You have to, kind of sacrifice, the tree of that is, the institution of Britain needs to be fed with blood. We're fed with sacrifice and all the rest of it. And we'll come on to it in a second, but it's the next kind of incredible monologue from Arn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this outside his house now? In the garden?
He talks about mega city, which I like that.
Yeah. And he starts talking about like mega cities.
Which is very true. Again, it's very true.
Yes, he was right.
How's your new play coming on?
It gets written.
Will it be outrageous? Your plays often are.
I make them tamer now. The public have lost the imaginative strength they had. Their sight and will to see what's really going on have been steadily weakened by the entertainment barons for gain, by the yes-men for cravenness. We're not people anymore with eyes to see. We're blind, gaping holes at the end of a production line we're stuffing with trash. We're not even citizens, we're dogged serfs on some mad Great Wall of China project. Our taskmasters know Hitler, Stalin, or Mao, but our own management class. Their pink fat faces even begin to look alike.
My husband's what people call a paranoid.
Persecution mania.
That's right. Trouble is, his twisted notions usually prove true.
There's one hope for man only. When the great concrete megacity chokes the globe from pole to pole, it shall already have bedded in some hidden crack the sacred seed of its own disintegration and collapse. Disobedience, chaos. Out of those alone can some new experiment in human living be born. Here am I subverting you. Your father will be horrified.
And he also says it's going to happen, but one day something will be born from that. We have to keep it kind of, people will be sacrificed and people will be kind of thrown into this huge machine. But from this horrible, nightmarish kind of catastrophe, something good will be born from it. And what I've put is that this is very similar as well to me for the Fisher King mythos. That again from like Arthurian legend that says that and T.S. Eliot wrote about this in The Wasteland as well. The whole point is the country isn't working, or the country is stuck because it's been horribly injured, and we are now out of sync with nature. And the king representing the country needs to be healed, either symbolically in order to make the waste ground fertile again. And I thought that sits in really well with what I think he was driving at with this.
And Arn and his wife are constantly gardening as well, which is interesting.
Yes,
but
they
are. Secretly, you find out later on she really despises the garden.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think the next important part is him meeting Algar in the
Yes.
in the
He
building.
He has another dream sequence
Or is
where
it? But
it's
the dream
shot really well.
Yeah, but this is the first dream sequence which he isn't asleep or knocked down. So this is almost like they are starting to come into his life now. So
this is where I think of it, where it goes. It becomes kind of like a visionary thing. Like it's like William Blake. It becomes part of a kind of romantic art historical framing. Where, these quasi religious figures come to people as visions. And I think this is very much a part of that kind of narrative of people like Samuel Palmer, William Blake, who had these kind of experiences in nature. Ayrton Senna, if you follow Formula One of his races, he thought that he saw the face of God as he was winning his first world championship. But I think that's what this part is about, is that like, it isn't just a dream anymore. It's now a vision within reality. Yeah.
So James, we cut you off.
But it's wild. This bit's fucking wild, isn't it?
It is.
But really well done again.
Yeah, what I put is good makeup on Elgar for a production that had a budget of about £3.75.
Yeah, really.
They do, and it's this whole metaphor for you need both parts, isn't it? It's that you need to be a synthesis of things. We are all not just one thing or another. We're a blend of all things. So again, I think it's just kind of expressing that really, but it does go, this again, mild criticism, it does go on a little bit too long.
Yes.
I would say.
But I do think it's also him seeing one of his heroes as someone who is a human, because he starts talking about his dead wife. He breaks down in tears at one point. And I think that was him seeing that this person is not like a godlike figure who is there to be worshipped, as someone you can who's had a life, is flawed, and also is someone you can empathize with. Yes.
Does he? Then he has to check when Elgar died, doesn't he? And he I don't think he can believe at that point that he's seen a vision of Elgar and Elgar is dead.
And I like that he said he keeps coming back to see the wonderful world, and I think that was nice. Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Then after that, what we get is his mum basically drives him into town and shows him. Well, what I put is a lot of 70s factory shots, a lot of people leaving work in 70s factories, and she basically says, you kind of got to find your place in the world, but otherwise you're going to end up here.
Well, she says you'll end up peeling potatoes, which is something my mother used to say to me, which really made me laugh. And I was just like, why is that the worst thing ever? Like, someone has to peel the potatoes.
Yes,
and I think that's
very true.
I think that's what a lot of 20th century Britain was about, which was this, you've got to get a trade, you've got to get on and work. There's this kind of honesty through work, and it's like, and that's all life is work, which I think, we come into the other side of that now, where people are talking about work-life balance and like, you work to live. You don't live to work. You live to go on holiday, and, you work to be able to go on holiday and do the stuff you want to do, not just fucking work all the time and then die when you're 50 or 60, like people used to do. Up to about 20 years ago. Obviously, the Tories and people like Reform would prefer that if the proletariat would still die at 60, then we don't have to pay to look after them.
But have lots of children, though.
So, I found that sequence really, out of everything in this is really interesting.
And then after that, he makes inquiries. He says, and it has dated really badly, but we have to say, even though this is very progressive for the time, he does go, can homosexuals be parents?
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
And I've heard that you're very good parents.
They are very good. Yes. He goes to speak to Mrs. Arne. Yeah. And again, Mrs. Arne is, again, like the voice of nature almost in a way, isn't she? And, kind of gives him wise and sage advice.
But if you'd never come across a gay couple with a child, you wouldn't know, would you? So
of course, it's 70. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And then after this sequence as well, we kind of get the truth of he comes to realize that his dad is not a everything the church says is perfect kind of vicar, isn't he? And then he says, why do you stay frocked to him? Why have you stayed in it? And I've just put, because it's an easy job with a free house.
Yes.
But that's not really the reason.
I'm the rector, so I basically get to keep everything.
Job for life. Yeah. But again, it's all kind of like the facade is breaking down and he's starting to realize who he truly is. Dangling plot point of, well, we've got to tell him when he's 18. We find out that, in fact, he is adopted, and we're told they're kind of vague about it, but yes, kind of like, oh, well, your parents weren't British. So again, this thing of that, he was so sure and steadfast at the start. Ooh, I am Britain. I represent Britain. There is a right and a wrong. Again, he's starting to see this just isn't true.
And I just love in order to try and help his son, he uses the most like the English language. Your parents aren't English. It's just lovely. It's just lovely.
You are an amalgam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. It's the way that we've lost the ability to talk like that now, haven't we? And we've totally lost context now, and people don't even care
people
about
don't
context
know stuff
anymore,
do they?
No. So the whole rationality of debate has become nonsensical, because you can say anything, and if people agree with you, then it doesn't even matter if that bears relation to reality, which is mental.
As Arn said in one of his monologues, and I wrote this bit down, we're not people anymore with eyes to see. We're blind, gaping holes at the end of a production line, stuffing them with trash.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Absolutely.
Totally
it is great
true.
stuff.
Totally true.
Yeah. And this is some of the trash, and we get it to you. If you want to pay £3, you can get this trash with no ads before everyone else.
We're virtually up to the end. We're virtually up to the end then. That it's interesting. One of my final notes is I've put like a bit of Penda chat. It's interesting that they kind of say that they picked Penda because his death was marked the end of paganism. He was like the last of the pagan kings. But when I had a quick look on Wikipedia, it's like, he seemed pretty nasty, actually. And it's like, I think probably you could have gone for somebody else. But anyway,
that's like in Wales when they always go on about Owen Glyndwr. It's like, you don't know anything about Owen Glyndwr. Literally, probably just his name. You don't know what he thought about women, or like if he was a nice guy, or if he was...
There's a pub named after him. So
kind to animals. So any name like that really becomes a kind of totem for whatever people want to throw at it, don't they? It's like...
Who was the comedian who always got in trouble for, got kicked off of Saturday Night Live, kept doing O.J. Simpson jokes? James, I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, basically, there was one of his quotes.
Chevy Chase?
Norm Macdonald?
Yeah, Norm Macdonald. It was one of his quotes recently I saw, and he was saying, it's okay, everyone, I've read the history books and the good guys always win. So,
yes.
Stephen goes to the church, and he has a real... He starts playing Elgar on the organ. But then he just starts... riffing and going all sort of like atonal and stuff, and that causes like a very strange bit of animation where the crack in the floor of the church opens up, and and
a split, a schism, some would say,
and then the mirror goes black.
Yes, exactly.
And my notes are: this is very Keith Emerson / Rick Wakeman, isn't it? It's sort of like organist wig out. It's all very Emerson. So yes.
bury me. Free me from this tree.
Yeah, and then he sees a vision of Christ, and it's just, and he realizes that there is more than one Christ. And
Christ,
yeah,
yes.
exactly, yeah.
Is that what he realizes?
I believe so. Or maybe I was misreading it.
I don't know. I just can't remember what happens. You see Christ's feet, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, and he's like, free me from this.
Yeah.
He says, free me from this. So, and by that, I took that he meant like, free me from organized religion.
Yeah.
From the aforementioned control.
Yes. Because his dad keeps saying that Jesus was the original renegade and he's been turned into the establishment.
Yeah.
So,
so free me from the establishment again.
Yeah. And then we have the last shot right up on top of the hill at the golden hour.
Amazing.
This is
the light is beautiful,
mental, isn't it?
Yeah. And the man and the woman who he was singing the praises of in the debating society earlier on come to him and say that
appear on either side of him.
Yeah, and say, "Come to
against,
be with us. You know, we need you. Yeah, you're the child of the
light." They basically make out he's the second coming.
Exactly.
They?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
then he has the incredible kind of realization. He says, "I'm nothing."
Yes, there's a great speech there, isn't there?
Look, your inheritance. The kings of the earth you can govern. They walk in their sleep. Yours is the right to inherit the power, to will their will. Power, Stephen. To turn the rock of the world to wealth. Power. To fall and not to die. Like Joan the maid. To fall and not to die.
You have to come with us. You are our child of light. You have to be born in us. Then you become pure light.
No.
Oh.
I am nothing pure. Nothing pure. My race is mixed. My sex is mixed. I am woman and man. Light with darkness. Mixed. I am nothing special, nothing pure. I am mud and flame.
And that wonderful thing that I think a lot of human beings probably have, and this is some of the issues we have in society, that everyone wants to believe that there's some super special, you have been chosen. And
I think it's called
so
main character energy these days.
You've got it in one.
But I think that's something I put down about teenagers at this age, and I've got one.
Yes.
They think they're the first. I know. Yeah, they think they're the most important person in the world. They think that they know everything. They think that every thought and feeling they're having, they're the first person who's ever had that.
First time, yeah.
And I think, you're right, James. It's when you become an adult, you realise that
everyone's the same.
Yeah, everyone's the same.
We are just, and that's his declaration at the end, isn't it? He's like, I'm going to keep alive the old ways. Again, this whole kind of Fisher King thing, and that kind of the hope that how I read it is that. Kind of Arne's speech earlier when he's like, there will be something that comes, things will keep being bad, but we've got to kind of keep the spirit alive. And then one day there will be a change. And that's what he kind of promises to do at the end.
So then they say, we can't let him go over to the dark side of the Force. And they try and set him on fire, which is
using a Polaroid camera and setting fire to the Polaroid
which
picture.
Is excellent, isn't it? It's excellent. But then he somehow invokes Penda to turn up on a chair, like Dave Garn in the Enjoy the Silence video. And then he blows him up. And then he does a bit of a speech, doesn't he, at the end?
There you have seen your true dark enemies of England, sick father and mother, who would have us children forever.
King Penda.
Stephen, our land must live. This land we love must live. Her deep, dark flame must never die. Night is falling. Your land and mine goes down into a darkness now. and I and all the other guardians of her flame are driven from our home up out into the wolf's jaw. But the flame still flickers in the fen. You are marked down to cherish that. Cherish the flame till we can safely wake again. The flame is in your hands, we trust it you, our sacred demon of ungovernableness. Cherish the flame, we shall rest easy. Stephen, be secret. Child, be strange. Dark, true, impure, and dissonant. Cherish our flame. Our dawn shall come.
Brilliant. So what do we think of Penda's Fen, everyone?
Fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah, one of the best things we've watched by far.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. One of those things I would just say to people, you should really watch this. There's a lot going on.
And watch it more than once, I would say.
And it's literally, it's only an hour and a half. It's 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's an acquired taste. I think for modern audiences would find this incredibly challenging now for every reason under the sun. I think some people would find the queer stuff in it now quite offensive. I think we're almost going backwards from a point where stuff like this is on mainstream television. Yeah, it's mad. And it's very, very, it speaks a lot. I was really surprised by how much it spoke about now, basically, in terms of, the Ian Hogg character. A lot of his monologues are basically just talking about what's happening in life now.
Yeah. But I think, unfortunately, it's not just teenagers who are thinking like this now. I think it's
the problem.
The majority of everyone thinks they're right, and there is black and white and
main character energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the internet, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 is because I think that the pace of it was different for me. That's why watching it double speed makes it twice as good.
Oh my God.
But yes, I might give it a 4.5 out of 5, actually. Yeah,
Cleaver, what's your highest ever rating?
I'll be a 5. I gave The Road a 5. I think. Let me have a look.
Oh, really? I think this is definitely on a level with The Road for me. I think there's a different level of enjoyment from the really good stuff to the stuff which is, the Hammer films that are really enjoyable. Then there's another kind of intellectual enjoyability, for want of a better phrase. And I think this is
stimulating,
one of those where you're like, yeah. And it makes you basically want to write something or make a film or like paint a picture.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. What's it saying, Cleves?
So Night of the Demon, I gave a 5.
Wow, this is way, way better than Night of the Demon.
I gave American Werewolf in London a 5, but that's mainly down to nostalgia. I gave Frenzy a 5. I don't know what I was on then.
That Frenzy is
Hitchcock love.
Yeah. And I gave Ghostwatch a 5, I think. Yeah.
So for me, whatever I've given my top score to, this is on a par with the top score that I've given because I can't remember what that is.
Well, you've given some things 5s.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. But that was The Road.
Sapphire and Steel.
Something recent. Yeah, that was a really good one. Something recently I gave a really good score to.
Stone Tape, you gave a 5.
Yeah, this is another Stone Tape kind of
quality. Yeah.
This provokes a debate about lots of different things other than, this was a good storyline, that special effect was good, or this was well shot. I think this is a complete package, and we don't get many of those on this podcast, really, do we, in lots of ways?
Mm-hmm.
What are you giving it, Jane?
I was going to give it a 4.5, but today I'm going to be Ross and say that hearing to you guys talk about it has made me think, no, actually, John is absolutely right. Given the way we've spoken about this evening, Boone chat has been at a minimum. And we haven't gone off on our new. I think this is really engaged, and I think that's surely what you want from any piece of art is that it makes you think and it engages you. And I think very, 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 very ambitious. And I think hats off to everybody involved, and especially hats off to the writer David Rudkin, who is still with us. He's 90, he's still alive. And I thought, how have I never really heard about this guy? So I've done a little bit of research this afternoon. Brilliant. And earlier in the podcast, I said, I found out that he's done something else and it's all on YouTube. Have you guys heard of Artemis 81?
No. Sounds amazing.
Maybe I have.
Artemis 81 is a British television play which was written by David Rudkin, commissioned by BBC producer David Rose. It was broadcast in 1981. It is an occult novelist, Gideon Harlax, played by TV's Shelley Hywell Bennett. And Hywell Bennett.
Yeah.
And he is drawn into an epic battle between Helith, who is played by Sting, the Angel of Light, and Azrael, Ronald Curran, who is the Angel of Death.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I know. And the whole thing is on YouTube.
Maybe that's a Christmas.
We need to watch that.
Yeah. And just the cover alone that they've used for the DVD, I was like, this looks great.
Yes.
So, yeah, hats off to David Rudkin. He's also, I was reading on his own website that he's done sort of like sound things to do with like sound memories, a la the Stone Tape, I think, a little bit.
Oh, nice.
To do with,
I need to look up
various.
This guy.
Yes, look at that.
Yeah.
To do with various countryside locations within the UK, including Worcestershire.
I love
and it's
maybe
like,
you could do it, John, you need to do a project with him where you do the pictures to go with his soundscapes.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
He's written something we've done before as well.
No way, which is what?
He wrote the ash tree that goes through with
Yes,
Christmas.
I did see that today and I didn't realise that. What I wanted to say, and I've forgotten to say it up to now, is that I think this was made in 73, shown in 74. It's only like 2 or 3 years before punk.
Wow.
And then, so it's concurrent with glam. And I thought it was really interesting that they've got this young boy in his bedroom when everyone else, like Johnny Marr and people, are listening to T-Rex. He's listening to Elgar. What I like to think that he does after this is he moves to London. He joins the New Romantics. Yeah. He goes to, is it Blast that was the club where Boy George and everyone went? And I just think he has a whale of a time, becomes a filmmaker or something. I think that's the future trajectory for Stephen that we all want to know happened, is that he just stopped being this kind of middle-class nit and became like a bit of a cool dude. I think there was a genuine kind of, I really enjoyed his performance when he's talking to Elgar. He looks really happy in that part. And I think in the rest of the film, he looks so miserable. He's a face like a cat's chuff is the only phrase that I can put with that. And I think, he deserves to have this epiphany where, he moves to London and he becomes the person that he wants to be rather than just kind of stuck in sleepy Malvern, listening to fucking Elgar. I love Elgar, to be fair, but but I was reading about Elgar today. The bit that's really fascinating is the bit with the Enigma variations, where he's saying about Nimrod and the tune. So there's basically another tune, which is a secret tune within the Enigma variation, which is mentioned in the play. I looked that up, and that is actually a real thing. And Elgar never disclosed what this other tune is that fits to the same tempo of Nimrod, which is really, really interesting. So the guy, the writer whose name I've totally just forgotten already, David Rudkin, obviously knew his stuff before this. Yeah. He'd done his research before he wrote this play, which I thought was super cool.
As we said, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
for an hour and a half. It's a rich meal, this one.
Yes.
Do watch.
I did want to mention, and I don't know if you two know this, and it's not British, but I was something like 5 Action or something like that is repeating the X-Files.
Yes. Oh, yes. This is one of your favourite topics at the moment, John.
Have I mentioned this before?
Yeah, the last 2 episodes you've been talking about X-Files.
No way. So I think we're up to season 4, and there was one on last night, and I was like, okay, I'll have a look at the start. And straight away, I was like, fucking hell, this is really good. This is like a mini feature film. I was really surprised by how it rattled along. Basically, I thought, I really recognize the guy. And turned out the baddie in it is the original Tooth Fairy from Manhunter.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a part specially written for him for the X-Files. but the episode and the part was written by the guy that created Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Vince Gilligan. It's a Vince Gilligan.
Yeah. And Better Call Saul. And I had no idea that he worked on the X-Files. So
that's how he got his start.
It is a fucking stonking episode. It's called Paper Hearts, and I won't give anything away about it. It really goes into the kind of lore of X-Files with the disappearance of Mulder's sister, but then it really spins that on its head. It's incredible, like the way it's shot. When I think of stuff that was on BBC in the 90s, like Bugs, or what was the other one? Was there another one called Time
Cop?
Was it Time something like that? I just fuck. This looks like
Time Crimes,
something like that. It was so streets ahead of anything like that, and it's brilliant. And I was just like, whoa, this is like. And it was directed by a guy who had also done Star Trek Next Generation. And I think they just had a bit of a dream team on some of those X-Files series that like...
Yeah, I started trying to rewatch it in lockdown, but I think it's just like when you try and watch Star Trek Next Generation, you don't need to watch all of the first few seasons.
No. The early seasons are quite clunky. It really gets into its stride in like season 3, season 4. And I'm sure it goes shit after that. But for some of these series, they were doing really good. And it really makes me think, why did Russell T Davies not look at this to reboot Doctor Who rather than Buffy? Because it's like, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So why aren't you doing this rather than bloody Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I hope everyone had a drink there for the mention of RTD, which is probably going to be on the new...
It's a record.
It's a broken record which keeps going around. But we love you.
Don't even get me started on and don't put this in. But anyway,
but can we just? Sorry, James. Just wanted to say one Doctor Who thing I heard today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moffat. I saw an interview. Moffat was saying what he wanted to do with Dare the Doctor, and it was all going to be Eccleston, but it was going to be that everything in the new series was a vision which they gave to Christopher Eccleston to say that if you don't destroy Gallifrey, none of this will happen. So basically, it was going to be like
dream sequence.
It's almost like everything we've seen so far was a dream sequence, which Christopher Eccleston was watching, and then it was, and I was like, wow, that's such a fucking brilliant idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
On that bombshell.
So my something horrific is that Hammer have also been very nice and sent to us some copies of X
the Unknown.
X the Unknown, which I'm going to watch, and I'm just going to say if you guys want to watch that, and we're not do like a whole episode on it, but maybe we can get on. I might
do a video or something where I react to it. I don't know yet. I bought a new device, like a gimbal thing to film myself, but film other videos, so I might do something with that. Good. So
so we have 90 minutes of just John's face reacting to X the Unknown.
To Fraser Hines as a 7-year-old or however old he is in that film.
Yeah. And I also they sent me a copy of this
nice.
Crucible of Horror, which is a Michael Goff DVD. So I'm going to give that a go as well, because the clip of it looked absolutely mental. So that looked quite nice.
He's not the best actor, but he was in some really insane films.
Yeah. James, do you want to plug your
I need to listen to this. I need to find out what this is, James.
Right.
Because I still don't understand what it is.
Okay, so it is our spin-off, which is General Witchfinders Department X. And what I found really interesting was in the 1970s, why was there suddenly a rise in kind of parapsychology as a thing in horror films? Why did that, and horror literature, why all of a sudden did that kind of replace the classic scares of monsters, vampires? Why did that suddenly rise to prominence? So I did some research, and thank you absolutely everyone who's listened and given me some very lovely feedback. I'm delighted to say that there will definitely be another 2, and I will happily tell you right now the next one will be my deep dive and research into why the book The Morning of the Magicians was so influential in the 60s and on culture today. So you can all look forward to that one. But tied into that, this weekend, I've been reading this book called Chasing the Dark by Ben Matchell. And it's absolutely brilliant. And it's one of those things I wasn't aware of this book until recently, but it just kind of sits alongside what I've done beautifully. Because what it is I shall read from the outside. It says, what do you do when reality begins to fray around you? Where do you go where science can't explain your experiences?
Happens every day to me.
Yeah. The Society for Psychical Research, yes, our friends at the PSR, were founded to tackle these very questions and to shine light on the shadowy world of the supernatural. Distinguished members have included prime ministers and Nobel Prize-winning scientists.
Uri Geller.
Well, he's in here. But the undoubted leading light of the SPR was a young British naval officer named Tony Cornell. A rationalist and a skeptic, he became haunted by a wartime encounter in India that changed everything. Oh. Between 1950 and 2010, he became perhaps the world's most prolific investigator of psychic phenomena and paranormal events. He and his colleague, the psychologist Alan Gould, combined the roles of detective, exorcists and psychiatrists, returning time and again to the unsettling spaces that exist on the very periphery of our tidy, rational lives. And it is fantastic.
Excellent.
I've literally smashed through it in a weekend. There's so much interesting stuff in it. I got a copy of this in hardback now. It's gone down. It's £9 in Great Britain. So should be a similar price.
You read so fast, James. It takes me so long to read now.
Well, but also it's because it's very good. It's very, very good.
Well,
and I find that when I'm really enjoying stuff.
So I'm like, I read a page and I fall asleep.
Well, John, maybe you need to read Starvaker, which is our book club book this month, which the episode before this would have been our first book club podcast episode. And the episode before that would have been John's spin-off episode. So, James's spin-off episode.
I was going to say, my spin-off?
Yeah, John hasn't done one yet, but yeah, we're all spinning off in different directions at the moment.
What can I do to...
But all under the Witchfinder umbrella.
I'm trying to think of a spin-off I can do now, but I can't think of any spin-off. I span off into Oldborough, but I didn't do any... I should have done some audio there, shouldn't I? Yeah. But
I will say as well, Ross, I think we haven't said yet, again, a huge thank you to anyone who's brought the latest fanzine as well.
Yes.
Is that now sold out?
The first printing sold out and I've reprinted it. So,
oh, no way.
Wowzers.
Yeah. So,
but honestly, huge thank you everyone who actually puts their hands in their pockets for this twaddle in whatever form you get it.
Look, I've still got some left here. So if you want to make it so that I can get across the room without tripping over some boxes, please go to the website and buy the last 3 issues. And that'd be great.
Excellent.
And the new one will be coming out in October. But
finally, Ross,
so what's
next time?
So next time,
what is next time?
We're having.
Isn't this the summer of weird?
Strange?
Summer of strange.
So we've had James
and the winter of weird.
Yeah. So James has had his spin-off, which span us off into this weird sort of non-hammery, non-traditional horror movie area. So we've had Penda's Fen, and we're next having Alternate 3, which is the mockumentary which you were talking to us about, James, which the Guardian were talking about recently.
What is it?
It's that thing we were talking about online where they put it on ITV or they put it out as like a factual news documentary. But it's the one saying that they've built a base on Mars.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's on everyone. If you're listening to it right now, look it up. It's on YouTube.
Was this the one that was the Guardian article that I half read? Right,
yes.
Yeah. So
it did sound really interesting. So
it's only 50 minutes. You're in for a total treat. That.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Join us for that. Probably in 4 weeks or so. Right.
Hooray!
Catch you later, everyone.
Love, light and peace.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good one.
Happy
Enjoy
day.
the summer.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to go and watch the football now.
You have been listening to The General Witchfinders. Support the show and continue the conversation at patreon.com/General Witchfinders. Subscribe and spread the word at generalwitchfinders.com. Farewell, and don't have nightmares.
Mike was blinded by the setting sun between the tall poplars at the end of the huge garden.
Stevie took advantage and ducked Mike under the water and held him there. Mike desperately tried to get free. He saw stars as he panicked and felt he was about to die when Stevie released him. Mike burst into the surface of the water, hungrily gulped the breath of air he thought he'd never taste again, and was blinded by a light. But it was not the light of the sun. Bob and Dave are the only people who remember a lost 1970s children's TV show called The Mind Children. Reconnected after 40 years by social media, the childhood friends start to investigate why it was cancelled after only 3 episodes and what happened to its elusive creator. Find Series 9 of Listen with Other on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other podcast providers, and at listenwithother.co.uk.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
With all respect to the lady who asked this, our postmistress, I hope she doesn't take this out on me by withholding my mail. You talk about strikers holding the country to ransom. And what are they supposed to do? Play cricket? Besides, hold us to ransom, isn't that what government itself does? And by government, I don't mean those figureheads who come pleading to us every 5 years to have their licenses renewed. I mean the manipulators, the fixers, the psychopaths who have real power in the land. Is it strikers who play monopoly for real with our countryside and cities? Is it strikers who smash the fabric of our communities for greed? Is it strikers who throw up in the air, million after million, your taxes and mine, on bungles, deliriums and fantasies? Is it strikers who pillage our earth, ransack it, drain it dry for quick gain to hand on nothing but dust to the children of tomorrow?
Now, come off it, Mr. On. People were dying because of this strike. Pensioners, old soldiers, dying of starvation and cold.
Yes. When that happens in a strike, it's cold they die of. When it's inflation, authorities' high hand, or callousness that kill them, it's hypothermia they die of then.
Now, you have to get this into perspective.
Perspective I give you. What, for instance, is the ultimate question a government are left with when pondering matters of defense? How many million civilians can we afford to let get slaughtered before the remainder revolt and depose us?
Mr. Chairman, do we have to endure this hysterical barrage?
Each must have his say, Sir Nicholas.
Look, not far from here is an expansive country. You all...
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Know it well, Brummies drive out of a Sunday to leave their litter there. Poets have hymned the spirit of this landscape. Our greatest composer has enshrined it. Farmland and pasture now, an ancient fen. The earth beneath your feet feels solid there. It is not. Somewhere there the land is hollow. Somewhere beneath is being constructed something we are not supposed to know. A top secret. We locals are not supposed to know it's even there. And you accept it? What is it then? An air raid shelter to shift the population of Birmingham to in all of 4 minutes. What is it hidden beneath this shell of lovely earth? Some hideous angel of technocratic death. An alternative city for government from beneath. Motorways there. Offices, control suites, silent, empty, waiting for the day. Telephones, computers, signal equipment. Ministry pencils, every grade of H&B, ready, sharpened against the minute. Oh, you say it must be something to protect us. Us? When for all we know the likelihood is our entire civilian population is marked down on some top secret memo somewhere as strategically expendable. When you talk of holding the country to ransom, please think of possibilities like that.
The British working man will never let a dictatorship happen. He's far too bloody-minded.
I damn well hope so.
Mr. Rahn is a writer.